I'm Juniper, and I thought a tropical getaway with my husband, Ethan, would be the lifeline our crumbling marriage so desperately needed. Picture this: azure waves kissing white sandy shores, the scent of hibiscus in the warm Caribbean breeze, and the promise of rekindling a love that's been slipping through my fingers. But beneath the postcard-perfect paradise, a storm was brewing, one I never saw coming. As I stepped into a world of forbidden temptation, I made a choice that could shatter everything I hold dear. Will my secret tear us apart for good, or is there a chance for redemption? Stick around to find out what happened under the swaying palms that changed my life forever. Picture this: I'm standing in the middle of my cluttered living room, surrounded by half-packed suitcases and a mess of sunscreen bottles and flip-flops, my heart doing this weird little dance between excitement and something heavier, something I can't quite name. I'm Juniper, 29 years old, and if you'd told me a week ago that I'd be on the brink of escaping to a tropical paradise, I'd have laughed in your face. Life's been a grind lately, a slow churn of routine that's worn down the edges of who I used to be. But here I am, getting ready to board a plane with my husband, Ethan, hoping against hope that this trip might stitch up the frayed seams of our marriage. Ethan's 32, the kind of guy who can charm a room full of strangers, but somehow always manages to stumble into chaos. He's got this reckless streak, a love for diving headfirst into the unknown, which is thrilling until it's not. We've been married for 3 years, and let me tell you, it hasn't been all sunshine and roses. We've weathered storms, money troubles that kept us up at night, family drama that tested our patience, the kind of stuff that either breaks you or binds you tighter. Somehow we've held on, but lately there's this distance between us, a quiet void that neither of us knows how to cross. He's been pulling long hours as a sales manager, coming home with exhaustion etched into his face, while I've been buried in deadlines as a graphic designer, trying to keep our little world spinning. Somewhere along the way, the spark we used to have, the late-night talks, the stolen moments of heat where we'd lose ourselves in each other, has dimmed. I miss that fire, that feeling of being alive with him, and I've been wondering if we'll ever find it again. So when Ethan came home last week, grinning like a kid with a secret, and dropped the bombshell that he'd booked us an all-inclusive vacation to a place called Azure Waves in the Caribbean, I was floored. A whole week of nothing but relaxation and reconnection, just the two of us, away from the noise of our everyday lives. I could hardly believe it. I've spent hours poring over the brochures since then, losing myself in images of pristine white sandy beaches that look like they've been painted by some divine artist, turquoise waters so clear you can see straight to the ocean floor, and promises of endless cocktails served under swaying palm trees. It's the kind of place that feels like a dream, a postcard come to life, where worries are supposed to melt away with the heat of the sun. I can almost taste the salt on my lips, feel the warm sand between my toes, and hear the gentle crash of waves lulling me into a peace I haven't felt in ages. But there's more to it than just pretty pictures and fruity drinks. Deep down, I've got this itch, this restless part of me that's been buried since my A's the plane door opens. A wall of humid, salty air hits me like a warm embrace, pulling me straight into the heart of the Caribbean. I step off the aircraft with Ethan by my side, my sandals slapping against the tarmac as we make our way toward the terminal. The moment we clear customs, the vibrant energy of Azure Waves Resort washes over us. Steel drums pulse with an infectious rhythm, their metallic beats dancing through the open-air lobby. A smiling staff member in a bright floral shirt hands me a fruity welcome drink, the glass slick with condensation, the sweet tang of mango and pineapple bursting on my tongue. I take a deep breath, letting the scent of ocean brine and blooming hibiscus fill my lungs, and I can't help but feel a flicker of hope. This place, it's everything I dreamed it would be. The resort sprawls out before us like a tropical paradise plucked from a fantasy. Palm trees sway lazily in the breeze, their fronds casting dappled shadows over winding paths of crushed coral. The ocean glitters under the midday sun, a mesmerizing expanse of turquoise that seems to stretch forever, lapping gently at a shoreline of powdery white sand. Infinity pools shimmer like liquid glass, surrounded by plush cabanas draped in flowing white fabric, beckoning with promises of lazy afternoons. I'm in awe, my heart swelling with the beauty of it all, and I glance at Ethan, hoping to see the same wonder in his eyes. For a moment, he's right there with me, his grin wide as he takes it in, and I think maybe, just maybe, this trip will be the reset we so desperately need. We check into our ocean view suite, and I'm floored by the sheer elegance of the space. The room is a sanctuary of calm, with a king-sized bed draped in crisp white linens that look softer than a cloud. A ceiling fan spins lazily overhead, stirring the warm air, while gauzy curtains flutter at the edge of a private balcony. I step outside, my breath catching as I lean against the railing. Below me, the waves crash rhythmically against the shore, their endless song weaving through the air. The view is hypnotic, a perfect frame of sea and sky, and I can almost feel the tension of the past few months starting to unravel. I turn to call Ethan over, to share this moment, but he's already distracted, tossing his bag onto a chair with a restless energy I know all too well. Barely an hour after we've settled in, I see that familiar shift in him. His excitement morphs into something else, something reckless, and before I can even suggest a walk on the beach, he's announcing he's heading to the open bar by the main pool. I'm left standing in the middle of the suite, a half-unpacked suitcase at my feet, watching through the balcony doors as he strides off without a backward glance. My stomach twists as I step out onto the balcony again, gripping the railing a little too tightly. Down below, I spot him at the bar. After watching Ethan disappear into the crowd at the bar, I decide I'm not going to sit around feeling sorry for myself. I need something to clear my head, to shake off the disappointment clinging to me like a second skin. So, I grab the resort map from the bedside table, scanning for anything that might help me unwind. My eyes land on the spa, tucked away in a quiet corner of the grounds, promising serenity and escape. Perfect. I slip into a light sundress, tie my hair back, and head out, the warm breeze brushing against my skin as I follow the winding path lined with blooming frangipani. When I reach the spa, it's like stepping into another world. The entrance is framed by towering bamboo walls, their golden hues glowing softly in the late afternoon light. The air is thick with the soothing scent of lavender, mingling with hints of eucalyptus, and faint instrumental music drifts through the space, all gentle strings and soft chimes that seem to slow my racing thoughts. I feel my shoulders loosen just a little as I step inside, the cool tile underfoot a stark contrast to the heat outside. At the reception desk, a woman with a warm smile greets me. Her name tag reads Maria, and her voice is as calming as the atmosphere, smooth and unhurried. She confirms my booking for the 6 hands massage, a treatment I'd signed up for on a whim when we checked in, thinking it sounded unique. Then, with a slight tilt of her head, she mentions an optional add-on called Happy Ending. I blink at her, caught off guard by the term. My mind scrambles for meaning. Maybe it's just some quirky name for an extra relaxation technique, a deeper stretch or a special oil blend. I chuckle awkwardly, shrugging it off, and tell her, sure, why not? I don't think much of it, just eager to get started and let go of the tension knotting my muscles. Maria leads me down a short hallway to a dimly lit room that feels like a cocoon of calm. A massage table sits in the center, draped with soft cream-colored linens, and warm towels are neatly folded on a nearby shelf. The air hums with a faint herbal aroma, and the low flicker of candles casts gentle shadows on the walls. 3 therapists enter shortly after, their presence filling the space with a quiet confidence. There's Lila, a woman with kind eyes and a soothing voice, Sophia, whose gentle demeanor puts me at ease instantly, and Marco, a tall man with a reassuring smile that makes me feel oddly safe. They introduce themselves warmly, explaining that the 6 hands technique means they'll work in sync to release every ounce of stress from my body. I nod, lying face down on the table, letting the soft fabric cradle me as I close my eyes and take a deep breath. The massage begins, and it's nothing short of heavenly. 6 hands move in perfect harmony, kneading away the tightness in my shoulders, my back, my legs. Lila's fingers work deep into the knots along my spine, while Sophia's gentle pressure eases the strain in my calves, and Marco's strong hands tackle the tension in my neck. It's like they're unraveling months of pent-up stress, layer by layer, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I let myself fully relax. My mind drifts, the world outside fading away until it's just me, the rhythm of their touch, and the soft music weaving through the air. I feel weightless, almost floating, as every worry about Ethan, about us, melts into the background. But then, as the session nears its end, something shifts. The touches grow slower, more deliberate, lingering in ways that feel different. My breath catches as I sense a change in the energy of the room, a subtle undercurrent I hadn't noticed before. Lila's hands glide along my lower back, closer to places that make my skin prickle with unease, and something else I can't name. Sophia's touch on my thighs feels less clinical, more suggestive, and Marco's fingers trace patterns that send a shiver through me, one I'm not sure I want to acknowledge. My heart starts to race as the realization hits me like a punch to the gut. What I thought was just an innocent add-on at the spa turned into something I never expected, something that crossed lines I didn't even know I'd approach. My mind reels as I stumble out of that dimly lit room, my skin still tingling from touches that went beyond professional, lingering in ways that felt like a forbidden dance. I'm not naive. I know what happened in there, even if I didn't mean for it to. It was like being caught in a current, pulled under before I could swim back to shore. My heart is a drum in my chest, pounding with a mix of shame and confusion as I make my way back through the resort. The beauty of azure waves, once a breathtaking escape, now feels like a cruel taunt. Every palm tree and shimmering pool mocking the mess I've made of myself. I walk slowly along the crushed coral paths, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows that stretch like fingers across the ground. The air is still thick with the scent of hibiscus and salt, but it does nothing to soothe me now. My thoughts are a storm, swirling with the weight of what I've done. I betrayed Ethan, me, the woman who swore to stand by him through everything, who promised forever under a canopy of stars. How did I let myself get swept away like that? Was it the loneliness I've felt for months, the ache for connection that's been missing between us? Or was it just a moment of weakness, a reckless lapse I can't take back? I'm terrified of what this means for us, for the fragile thread still holding our marriage together. What if he finds out? What if he sees it in my eyes, hears it in my voice? I don't even know if I can face him without crumbling. My feet carry me off the main path, toward a secluded stretch of beach I noticed earlier. I need to be alone, to gather the shattered pieces of myself before I see him again. The sand is warm under my sandals as I kick them off, letting my toes sink into the soft, powdery grains. I sit down near the water's edge, pulling my knees to my chest as I stare out at the waves crashing against the shore. Each roll of the ocean feels like a reprimand, a relentless reminder of my guilt. I try to rehearse what I'll say to Ethan, if I say anything at all. Should I confess, spill everything, and beg for forgiveness? Or do I bury this deep, lock it away where it can't hurt us more than we already are? The words tangle in my mind, none of them right, none of them enough. I'm sorry feels too small for the weight of this betrayal. It didn't mean anything. Feels like a lie, even to myself. Because in that moment, I felt something. Something I shouldn't have. As I sit there, the sound of the waves pulls me back to a memory I've clung to through our hardest times. Our wedding day. I can see it so clearly, like it's playing out in front of me on this empty beach. We were under a canopy of string lights, their warm glow flickering like fireflies in the night. Ethan had that goofy smile on his face, the one that always made my heart skip, as we danced to some slow, sappy song I can't even remember the name of. His hands were on my waist, mine around his neck, and we swayed like we were the only two people in the world. He leaned in close, his breath warm against my ear, and whispered something silly about stepping on my toes, making me laugh until my sides hurt. That moment, that pure, untainted joy, it stabs at me now, a knife twisting in my chest. How did we get from there to here? How could I have done something to risk losing that smile forever? I don't know how long I sit there, lost in the past, but eventually, I force myself to stand. The sun is dipping lower, painting the sky in shades of amber and violet, and I know I can't avoid him any longer. My legs feel heavy as I make my way back toward the main part of the resort, the bar area by the pool as I trudge back to our suite from that secluded stretch of beach, the weight of the day presses down on me like a storm cloud ready to burst. The night has fallen over azure waves, wrapping the resort in a blanket of quiet darkness, broken only by the distant hum of laughter from the bar and the ceaseless whisper of the ocean. I find Ethan already there, sprawled across the bed, his shirt half unbuttoned, the sharp scent of rum clinging to him like a second skin. He's out cold, his chest rising and falling with heavy, uneven breaths, oblivious to the chaos tearing me apart inside. I stand there for a moment, just watching him, my heart aching with a mix of love and loathing, not for him, but for myself. The silence between us, even with him asleep, feels louder than any argument we've ever had. It's suffocating. A void filled with all the things I can't say. I can't stay in the room with him like this, not with my thoughts screaming at me. So, I slip out onto the balcony, the cool night air brushing against my face as I sink into a chair. The ocean stretches out before me, a vast, inky expanse under a sky studded with stars, its waves crashing in a rhythm that feels like it's mocking my turmoil. Sleep is a distant dream. Every time I close my eyes, I see flashes of that spa room, feel the ghost of touches that crossed boundaries I never thought I'd near. Guilt gnaws at me, a relentless beast tearing into my chest, leaving me raw and exposed. I wrap my arms around myself, as if that could hold the pieces of me together, but it's no use. I'm unraveling, thread by thread, and I don't know how to stop it. Sitting there, alone with the night, I force myself to face the truth I've been dodging since I walked out of that spa. Part of me, a part I'm ashamed to even acknowledge, doesn't regret what happened. Not entirely. It's like a dormant piece of me, a spark I thought had long since died, flickered back to life in those forbidden moments. I felt seen, desired, alive in a way I haven't in months, maybe years. And I hate myself for it. I hate that I let myself feel that rush, that I let it pull me under when I should have swum for shore. I betrayed Ethan, the man who stood by me through every storm, the man I promised my forever to. How could I do this to him? How could I do this to us? The contradiction tears at me, wanting to cling to that fleeting thrill while drowning in the shame of what it cost me. I'm a mess of longing and regret, and I don't know which part of me is stronger. But one thing becomes clear as the night drags on, as the ocean's endless song drills into my soul. I can't keep this secret. I can't live with this lie festering inside me, poisoning every moment I spend with him. I have to tell Ethan the truth, no matter how much it hurts, no matter what it might destroy. I owe him that much. I owe myself that much. The decision settles over me like a heavy fog, chilling and inevitable. I'll confess tomorrow, when he's sober, when we can face this head on. I don't know if he'll forgive me, if we can salvage what's left of us, but I can't carry this alone anymore. The thought terrifies me, but it's the only path I can see through this darkness. Morning comes too soon, the sun creeping over the horizon in streaks of gold and pink, painting the resort in a light that feels too beautiful for the ugliness I'm about to unleash. I barely slept, my eyes gritty and my body heavy as I drag myself out of the chair on the balcony and back into the suite. Ethan is stirring now, groaning as he sits up, rubbing at his temples with a grimace. I suggest breakfast at the beachside cafe, my voice tight and strained, and he nods, oblivious to the storm brewing in me. We make our way down the winding paths, the air already warm, as Ethan and I sit across from each other at the beachside cafe. The clink of cutlery and the murmur of other guests feel like a distant hum against the roaring in my head. I've barely touched my mango smoothie, the glass sweating in the morning heat, mirroring the cold dread pooling in my stomach. I take a shaky breath, forcing the words I've rehearsed all night to the surface. I start to speak, my voice low and unsteady, hinting at something I need to confess, something that happened at the spa. I don't dive into the full depth of it, not yet, just testing the waters with a vague admission that I crossed a boundary I shouldn't have. My eyes are locked on his face, searching for a reaction, for any sign of what he's feeling. He looks away almost instantly, his jaw tightening like he's biting back a storm of his own. His fingers grip the edge of the table, knuckles whitening, and when he finally speaks, his voice is rough, clipped. I don't know if I want to hear it right now. Let's just get through this trip. The words hit me like a slap, sharp and cold, leaving a sting I can't shake. I nod silently, my throat closing up, unable to push past the wall he's just thrown up between us. The rest of breakfast passes in a suffocating quiet, the kind that presses down on you until you can barely breathe. We don't exchange another word, just go through the motions of eating, the taste of toast turning to ash in my mouth. I keep my gaze on the ocean beyond, its endless waves a cruel reminder of how far apart we've drifted. The remaining days of our vacation at Azure Waves unfold in a strained, polite distance that cuts deeper than any argument could. We go through the motions, lounging on the beach under the scorching sun, the sand sticking to my skin like a second layer of guilt. Sharing dinners at the resort's open-air restaurant, the clatter of plates and forced small talk, filling the void where real conversation used to be. I watch him sip his rum and cola, his eyes anywhere but on me, while I poke at grilled fish I can't bring myself to eat. We're like strangers playing a role, smiling for the waitstaff, nodding at other couples, but the space between us grows wider with every passing hour. Every forced, "how's your day?" or "pass the salt," feels like a shard of glass, cutting into what little connection we had left. I want to scream, to shatter this facade, but his words from breakfast echo in my mind, holding me back. He doesn't want to hear it. Not now. Maybe not ever. Inside, I'm a wreck, torn apart by conflicting tides of emotion. There's a strange relief in not having spilled the entire truth, in keeping the raw, unfiltered details of that spa moment locked away. It's a burden I don't have to watch him carry. Not yet. But that relief is drowned out by the agony of this new wall between us, thicker and colder than anything we've faced before. I catch myself staring at him when he's not looking, tracing the familiar lines of his profile as he gazes out at the horizon during a sunset walk, wondering if he senses the weight I'm carrying. Does he know I'm hiding something bigger? Does he feel the fracture in me, in us? I lie awake at night in our suite, the ceiling fan whirring above me, listening to his steady breathing beside me, feeling like I'm drowning in the silence. I ache to reach out, to bridge this gap, but I'm paralyzed by the fear of what full honesty might do. The plane ride back home feels like a funeral for the marriage I thought we had. I sit by the window, staring at the endless stretch of clouds below, their fluffy white shapes mocking the heaviness in my chest. Ethan's beside me, headphones on, lost in whatever's playing, his armrest a barrier as solid as the one in his heart. I clutch the armrest on my side, my nails digging into the cheap plastic, replaying every moment of this trip like a broken record. The vibrant colors of Azure Waves, the don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.